Good afternoon. The trials against the suspects facing charges in Elijah McClain's death will move forward. Attorneys have been questioning potential jurors all day in the case of two Aurora police officers.
Elijah McClain was simply walking home, but ended up dead. This after police subdued and restrained him, and then paramedics injected him with a sedative, ketamine. Investigative reporter Kevin Vaughn is live in Brighton now. Kevin, the big news this afternoon that affects this case came down today.
That's right, Tom. Just in the last few hours, the Colorado Supreme Court denied a petition that had the potential to upend this first trial. Two paramedics also facing charges in Elijah McClain's death went to the state's highest court last week in a bid to have the charges against them thrown out. They filed what's known as a Rule 21 petition, arguing that the Colorado Attorney General's office improperly brought charges against those two paramedics and three police officers. It had the potential to derail the first case to go to trial, charges of reckless manslaughter and second-degree assault against suspended Aurora police officer Randy Rodema and former officer Jason Rosenblatt. 9 News legal analyst Scott Robinson had called the petition a long shot.
Because most Rule 21 petitions are denied statistically, it doesn't come as any kind of surprise from a statistical point of view that the petition was refused or denied by the Supreme Court.
Once a jury is seated in this case, it will proceed to opening statements. That could happen tomorrow, but it more likely looks like it could be Wednesday. They're a long way away from having a jury at this point. Tom?
Well, that Supreme Court ruling certainly affects these other trials as well. And I imagine what happens in this trial once a jury is seated will also have some bearing on how these other cases go forward as well.
That's right, Tom. This trial is for two former Aurora police officers charged in this case. It's expected to go for 4 weeks. Then another Aurora police officer is set to go on trial after that. And then a third trial for the two paramedics are currently scheduled to begin in late November.
Well, many people are following it, including Kevin Vaughn. Thanks, Kevin.
Today, Denver City Council will vote on settling another lawsuit regarding police conduct during the 2020 George Floyd protests. Russell Strong was at a protest at Civic Center Park on May 30th, 2020. According to the lawsuit, Strong was carrying a sign when an officer fired a foam round and hit him in the face. Strong sued police, saying the officer fired it intentionally. He said the damage done to his eye was too severe that it couldn't be saved. City Council will vote on whether to settle the lawsuit for $550,000. Last week, City Council approved 6 settlements totaling $1 million for other lawsuits related to police response during the protests.
Commerce City Police are investigating a crash that killed 2 people, sending 2 more to the hospital, including a 9-year-old. It happened around 11:30 p.m. on Friday night on Highway 2 near 72nd Avenue. Police say it was a car with 3 people in it turning left off of 2 onto East 72nd when another driver hit it. 2 adults in that first car died. A 9-year-old child was injured and remains in the hospital in critical condition. The driver of the other car, a 17-year-old boy, was also injured and remains hospitalized.
Let's take a live look outside on Monday afternoon. Here we are looking at downtown Denver from 9 News. A few clouds out there rolled in this afternoon, but still, Kathy, this was an all-star weekend.
It was pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the last full weekend of summer that we just enjoyed, and this is the last week of summer, you guys, because next Saturday, the autumnal equinox, and with that first full weekend of the new season will come some cooler weather. Outside today, we went from mostly sunny to some cloud cover, as Kim mentioned, and we're watching some of the clouds along the foothills because producing a few light rain showers, which is kind of interesting. So 81 in Denver today, 85 in Pueblo, only 69 in Grand Junction today. Temperatures seasonal for the Front Range and Eastern Plains, but it's pretty dry out there. Humidity values running in the teens and lower 20s. Winds are light, downsloping winds out of the west and northwest. We expect those to shift southwest. And speaking of southwest, that's where all the really interesting weather is today. Scattered showers, a bit of thunder and lightning outside of Alamosa, Gunnison, up toward the Grand Junction area. Wind reports coming in across Minturn, south of Craig, areas in and around Vail. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts to about 45 and 50 miles per hour. We may have a stray shower across I-25 between now and about 8 o'clock. Then skies will clear. We'll see this again tomorrow. tomorrow. We just have a little bit of moisture making its way into Colorado. Not enough that will impact your plans tonight or tomorrow afternoon. Low 80s now. We dropped 10 degrees by the dinner hour. And coming up, we are going to talk about the warm weather trend for the last few days of summer. We'll check the radar again. And there is a storm taking aim at us for next weekend, but it's not looking nearly as interesting as it was a few days ago. I'll explain what I mean with the extended forecast, and that's coming up.
Need a little music here. Wake us up on a Monday. Tucked away in the Highland neighborhood lies a sweet piece of Mexico's history. Half a century of making Mexican delicacies, and they are amazing, and they connect them to so many different people as well.
Yeah, 9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez now introducing us to Rosales Mexican Bakery, one of the first Mexican bakeries in Denver.
Just before the sun comes up, flour dust and old aluminum trays take over this small kitchen at Rosales Mexican Bakery. First things first, a fan favorite, bolillos. Manuel knows a thing or two about Mexican pastries.
16.
He's been baking for more than 3 decades. 20 minutes in the oven, the smell of Manuel's fresh white bread travels through Denver's Highlands neighborhood.
Este nomás dura como unas 2 horas.
He's right. Along with other fresh pastries inside the glass display, they won't last long.
Overwhelming amount of choices. You can see in the case, there's just so many good things that you could try. So I'm working my way through.
Matt Williams has a lot of reasons to keep coming back to Rosales Mexican Bakery.
I feel like they do a good job of making it feel really authentic and true to who they are, and not necessarily just any other place in Denver.
Ahora tenemos fresca. Dígame.
Laura Lechuga has kept the authenticity alive.
I've been an owner probably for the last, sole owner probably for the last 15 years.
Her role at Rosales is decades in the making.
We started about 48, 49 years ago. It was my parents, the whole family, my sisters, my mom, my dad, and me.
The family moved to Colorado from Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. Lechuga was just 10 years old. Her dad was the original owner.
He was the baker, and we would sell.
After he passed away in 1992, Lechuga took over.
My mom said, if you don't come back and stay here full time, the bakery's gonna go down.
More than 30 years later, she lives her father's legacy, running the bakery
Pues es prima toda la vida. Somos primos hermanos.
alongside Manuel.
He's been with me since my dad died. We're still here.
The tradition continues at Rosales Mexican Bakery,
¿Necesita recibo?
where she started at 10 years old,
Bueno.
a family-run bakery that treats customers as just that, family.
Que tengan muy buen día, ¿eh?
That might just be the true recipe for success.
Hasta luego.
Before taking over the bakery, Laura had to overcome a lot of obstacles. One of those was giving up her career. But when I last spoke to her, she said she loves being here at Rosales Mexican Bakery, introducing people to the Mexican culture and the pastries, and then continuing to do what her father started. For now, I'm in Denver. Brianna Fernandez for 9 News.
Kind of hungry?
I am so, everything there is delicious and it's worth the wait. I mean, oftentimes you'll stand in line because everyone knows how amazing it is.
Well, there's a reason why the real thing is still around. 'Cause
Exactly.
It's the best.
Exactly.
Nice
And whenever
job.
there's a line, that's a good sign,
Yeah.
right?
Get online.
They're wonderful, so talented. 9 News is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and you'll find extended coverage, or you can revisit some of your favorite stories if you've watched them here on the 9 News Plus app and on 9news.com.